Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Our guest today is Chisa. I don't want to mispronounce your last name.
Hey, well, I appreciate you for that. Last name is pronounced Egbelu.
Chisa Egbelu, who is a Rutgers alumnus, class of 2015, right?
Oh, no, 2016.
2016. And in those 4 or 5 years, he has done amazing things. And so we're proud to have him as our Young Alumni Spotlight. Chisa came from, I believe, Louisiana,
Yes, sir.
right? Ended up coming to Rutgers, was involved in everything from the Eagleton Institute, WRSU. He was involved in being part for working with the Big Ten. He was involved with the RUTV. And now he is actually the chairman and CEO of his own company, along with another Rutgers alumnus.
Yes.
Uh, so, Chisa, thank you so much for joining us.
Appreciate you, man. And I got to give a shout out also to the Quidditch team that I was president of for 2 years. They got a special place in my heart. They don't get enough credit out there. So I got to shout them out too.
That sport is a mixture of rugby, uh, uh, hoop, basketball,
Yeah.
um,
You're hip to it.
full on wrestling, I believe,
Yeah.
a little bit of track.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's absolutely true.
uh, so I so do you have any first of all, before you even get started, do you have any lingering Quidditch injuries?
Oh, I mean, I tore my ACL, so I got that scar to live with forever. So
For the greater good of the what was it, the Flying Dutchman?
sounds about right. I
Is
didn't.
that what's the team nickname?
For the Rutgers Quidditch team.
Yeah.
Oh, man. By the time it was my time, we were just Rutgers.
Fair enough. So, Chisa, thank you so much for joining us. So, you started off in Louisiana.
Yeah, Baton Rouge.
Tell us a little bit about how growing up in Baton Rouge and ending up at Rutgers.
Oh, sure. I mean, I love growing up in Baton Rouge. I think Louisiana is probably the most unique state in America. One trip to New Orleans will prove that for you. And so I had a very eclectic experience there. Of course, I played football there. Was all districts, defensive MVP for our undefeated team, and I went to LSU Lab School. Right, it was a little bit of our own beautiful football factory. While I was in Baton Rouge, I got really involved in all types of things, but part of those things being a logistics coordinator for a college readiness company. And so working with different students, helping them get to that next level, myself included, right? Raising our ACT and SAT scores, and figuring out how to make things work. And so from there, started working with the mayor's office on their youth advisory council. Really got deep down involved, and that's where I really started learning about, I'd say like the systemic things that take place that can move someone forward or backwards in their pursuits of educational obtainment. Uh, so yeah, did that. Had a great time. Was very involved in high school. We were in the Capitol. We were also on LSU's campus. So there were a lot of interesting things that came to. But part of my experience there, I did feel like it was very not exactly diverse, right? I felt like I was either on the white side of town or the black side of town, unfortunately. And that really drove what I was looking for in a college. I wanted to go to a college where I felt like everything is there and everyone is there, and there's opportunity for collaboration. And so when I was visiting Rutgers, Rutgers is an incredible campus where I got there and I was walking around, I'm seeing everyone, and it felt like the work you put in can equal the work you put out, right? Like, as in, you put in hard work and you can see results. And honestly, that's a unique feeling. It's not a feeling that is universal by any means. So I fell in love with Rutgers from that pursuit, and I love that it actually had a real campus, right? I wasn't like NYU where you're like ashamed to wear anything that reflects your school. There was a real campus, a real community. And not only that, Rutgers was able to have communities within communities. I love the multitude of campuses that give you different auras, different energy, different vibes, depending on what you're looking for. And so for me, I actually first learned about Rutgers probably when I was in Middle school, I think the women's basketball team was just on Sports Center, and I was like, I remember I asked like my friend's dad, I was like, "Where's Rutgers?" And he's like, "New Jersey," and I was like, "Wow, that seems so far away."
Here you are.
Exactly, crazy how the world works.
And so that's how you end up seeing Rutgers and deciding to take the visit?
I mean, that was middle school, so like it just stayed in my head. I was like, now I know what Rutgers is, and so I was just looking at schools in the Northeast, and I saw Rutgers, and so my final count came down to like NYU, Boston U, and Rutgers, and I fell in love with the Rutgers experience over all of them.
So you came over to Rutgers. You're a kid from Louisiana.
Yeah.
You're not playing football, so you've been playing. You're doing a lot of football. So you get here. What's your first? Tell us a little bit about that. Those first couple weeks at school.
Nice. So I actually got to school about a week and a half late because I was in a hurricane.
Oh God.
So I was in a hurricane to start off September, and so yeah. I felt like I was playing catch up when I got there. Luckily for me, I did do a 1 week program, summer program at Rutgers before at the time called Leadership Quest, and it really introduced me. It was like in the back corner of Cook Douglas, and it really introduced me to like the Rutgers experience and just meeting students from all over the country that were also coming in. So for me, when I finally got to school after being like a week and a half late and like missing a lot of the first fun stuff, what's the thing called when everyone, like all the freshmen, going to the stadium? Convocation, right?
Convocation.
Yeah, dude, I totally missed convocation. I was so mad about that. But I got there, and my floor, they had already like all met each other, and I was like trying to play catch up. And I remember there was like a junior on my floor, and it's so funny because like a junior on our floor at that time, we're like, oh, this guy's so much older than us. Like he's seen the world. And I remember like, he tried to like nickname me Louisiana Lightning, and I was like, bro, just call me Chisa. Like don't do all that.
Don't be that guy.
Yeah, no, you've done enough, right? And so I felt like I was playing catch up, but I caught up really quick and got acclimated, and I felt like I had a bit of a spoiled experience. In a good way, right? I felt like I was spoiled because I was in the towers, and there were just amazing people from all over the world. Because the towers it's an international dorm, and so we had our friends that were coming from Richfield, New Jersey, and we had our friends that were coming from Russia, and we had our friends that were coming from Virginia, and we had our friends that were coming from Vernon, New Jersey, right? So we just had such an amazing experience of all learning so much from each other. Just, even within New Jersey, it's very easy to get siloed into your town or your region, your community. And you get to Rutgers, and it's like the entire world pours into like this like 5 mile radius. You know what I mean? And like in that dorm, it was like we all compiled into this like one floor, and we just became such a family. And those are still the people I talk to heavily today. Like I had an amazing experience. Plus, my roommate and I had the same birthday. I don't know if that was on purpose, but it was like a great way for us to come together.
That's awesome. What were some of those most meaningful experiences? Beyond, it sounds like your freshman semester was incredible. Which tower, by the way?
Oh, South Tower, bro. Soto.
North Tower is better.
No, sir.
We get better access to the buses, but okay.
But you don't get that exercise running to the buses. It's straight up.
So it sounds like you had an amazing beginning. You did some really amazing things while you were at school. Tell us a little bit about some of those meaningful experiences you had while you were a student.
Yeah, so much of going to school and going to college at a place where people have all different views is that you just get exposed to so much, and that's what helped me out, right? It wasn't until I was on my floor just talking to people on other floors and meeting everyone that I was like, oh, there's a radio station here. Okay, cool. Like, let me go to an intro meeting. Like, and we saw a flyer, or even just, it was my floor. We were the ones that first went to that first Quidditch practice, right? And we were like, let's just see what's going on. And the ability to have a collective unit of individuals that are just willing to try new things that they've never done. Like, one person's like, oh yeah, my grandma used to talk about this thing. It's like, let's go see what it's about. So I was heavily involved in my floor dynamics, but also, you know, those are people that I went and started playing Quidditch with. Those are the people that, you know, we went to our first like meditation and yoga class together. You know, I loved, you know, going out to College Ave together with them on those late nights and like figuring out the world. And it was an incredible experience for us where we developed our characters. I think that was also the first semester that the movie theater was open as well, on Livy.
So I mean, and this is all just freshman year.
Yeah, that's all just freshman year.
And then you end up working with Eagleton,
Yep.
WRSU, RUTV. I believe you ended up working for Morning Joe.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you start getting involved in there
Well,
with all these different productions?
I went and asked them, how can I get involved? First, you know, like, you know, when it came to RUTV, you know what it was? I forget, the summer before I worked for RUTV. So I wanted to be an orientation leader, and then I thought I was gonna have to. I thought I was gonna have to like take classes over the summer. So I was like, I guess I can't be an orientation leader. And then something fell through, and I wasn't gonna take classes, and it was too late for me to sign up for being an orientation leader. And so that summer, one of my friends, Ju Young Choi, we became essentially custodians and janitors for Rutgers on Bush campus for the entire summer. And so during that process, we lived at our off-campus house. We were doing everything from like dorm room repairs to janitor work. We were cleaning up entire dorms, rearranging the furniture for like incoming. It was such a hard job. It was so hard. It's a job that makes you be like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna get my education. Like I'm definitely so we did that, and at nighttime we would like hang out with like the orientation leaders and stuff like that, like the only other people that were really on campus, right? And during that process there was a girl that was orientation leader named Lauren, who was one of the managers at RUTV. And like as we're hanging out, she's like telling me like, here, this is what we do at RUTV XYZ, and she's like, oh yeah, we actually have an opening if you're available. And I was like, please. I was like, give me anything else to do. Like, please. Like, so that's why I like made my transition from like custodian on Bush campus to working over at RUTV on Bush campus.
And so that's what sparked you into all these different media.
You know, I was already working at WRSU before that. You know, before that experience, I didn't know how to get to RUTV. Yeah, I don't know if I even knew it was there, to be honest with you. But like the Rutgers way, you meet all of these different people and you start talking to them and you learn about new things. So I was working at the custodial spot during the daytime, and then like at afternoon, like when my shift would end, I'd go over to RUTV and work within programming. And then I was also working my radio show as well at the same time in WRSU.
And what was your radio show?
Rutgers Recess, #1 show on the station.
Well, what was it?
Essentially, it was kind of like an Elvis Duran in the Morning show, which is what ended up, you know, taking us in afterwards. We started off as it's kind of like maybe a Power 105.1 Breakfast Club, where we bring in these artists from all over the tri-state. We talk about pop culture. We talk about systemic issues in the educational system and ways to improve it. We bring on professors to talk. It was just a really funny, creative programming. We would do little like pranks on people, and then record it and then play it on air.
Having a good time.
It was literally that's the place where I was utmost happiest on campus, and I was happy in a lot of places, but being in that studio definitely was like my happy place.
So I want to circle back to this in a minute, but let's talk for a minute about what you're doing now.
Sure.
You started your own company in 2016, right?
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about it. Tell us about that process. Tell about what it is.
Sure. So what Petal is today, it's a platform that helps corporations diversify their workforce with scholarships. And so that means that when we work with Viacom CBS or Paramount Pictures or Wiley or Oracle, you know, they obviously can't put up a job description for a woman developer, right? Or like a Latino data scientist. But what we allow them to do is put up a scholarship for that exact same thing. And then we take that scholarship and use it as a vehicle to source and recruit students from across the country that match their specific criteria. And so Wiley, they call us America's #1 diversity hack. We really ran with that. Wiley's the oldest publishing company in the country. Started 1807, almost as old as Rutgers. Not there yet. Not just there yet.
We'll let them try.
Exactly.
They are
So
older than the RAA, so we'll give them that.
that's fair. That's fair. So yeah, so we that's the company we're doing. We have now is what we're doing. We're based out of Newark. Actually, now we went over right over from New Brunswick, and we're actually based out of the Rutgers Business School on the 7th floor there.
Really?
Yes. That was a company that we started as students. And what we were doing is we would just meet at the Livy Student Center every Sunday morning at like 10 a.m. And we would like stay and work on things until like 6 p.m., just learning how to code, working on business plans, etc. And it just came out of a need. We saw that school was getting more and more expensive, and we're like, how can we get these large corporations to invest in the students that need it the most?
So it sounds like you were on a track for a lot of multimedia between the radio, TV, Morning Joe. You were on a track for all these different things, and then you kind of switched focus.
You could say so.
And really laser focused onto this. Was that a conscious decision, or just what happened?
I think it was just about going about the opportunities that are presented to you at Rutgers. I wouldn't even say I switched focus as much. I just used my skill set for other means, right? Because the journalism, it all helped me so much just to be able to ask the right questions. And being at Eagleton, when you're dealing with polling and you're dealing with questions for a living, I learned very quickly how to find the right answers to be able to do whatever you want to do. So we asked a lot of questions when building a company, and we built what we wanted to. But before Pedal, I was involved with another company called Chikara Foods at Rutgers. Just a bunch of us got together and built a company for this competition called the Holt Prize that we ended up winning at Rutgers, and then we were a regional finalist in Boston. And that was just a company that a group of my friends and I came together, and that was like my first foray into starting a company and utilizing my journalism skill set to expand it. So it just transitioned organically. And with the company, you have to do a lot of talking like this, but you have to write and produce a lot of videos, scripts, and everything in between. So it worked. I met my co-founder in journalism class. So it still really helped me out. And hey, I think that we have a huge opportunity now to still this morning I just got off of a call. It was a pilot call. They're writing a pilot based. I know it sounds ridiculous, but they're doing a pilot based on our company right now for a TV show. And so I had to use a lot of what I learned at school and within production to be able to have like the proper input to build that.
That's awesome. What are some lessons you learned at Rutgers that you use in that day to day?
That everyone knows something that you don't. Right, it's like you learn how to respect differing opinions at Rutgers, because you will just be shocked over and over again about someone that is experiencing something that you've never even thought of, and you learn about them and their background, and you learn to make it make sense, and you learn that having differing opinions that can create a product or a process or a result that is just going to benefit more people. I think that I also learned that you can, jump off the ledge, and I mean that in the best of the ways, right? Like take chances. It's okay to not know. Rutgers will teach you that it's okay to not know. And for me, it kind of took the fear out of the process, right? It's like you don't have to be scared because there's a lot more on the other side of fear.
I mean, I love it. I absolutely love it. And is that the kind of advice you would give to, there's going to be some new graduates in just a couple of months, and to some, current students? Is that the advice you would give? Or is there something more?
I would say, like, don't let your fear hold you back. Most of your hesitation is fear-based. You're at a place now, and even to older people, like no ageism in this game. You are at a place where you can try new things, and try not to let the fear or the hesitation hold you back, and and really analyze the situation so you can get those new opportunities to shift how you think about certain topics, to shift how you want to attack it, and just doing it yourself and making it work. And then you always have your Rutgers community to lean on too, to find out new things. That's always been helpful, right? Getting to talk to someone that this morning I was talking to this VC, this venture capitalist that is based in San Francisco, randomly is from Andover, New Jersey, and went to Rutgers class of like '02, right? So it's beautiful that you get to lean into this community and lean into this network in all types of fields, to learn from them. And I've never reached out to someone from RU and they like disrespectfully like slapped like the opportunity out of my hand, right? Like they're always like, all right, let's talk. Fine, all right, let's talk.
That's awesome. What do you have planned for the future?
For the future, I think that we're gonna scale this company up. We're really looking to target that $100 million revenue point and really bounce from there, and see if we want to go, how we want to exit the company in that regards. And then from there, I think there's a lot that we still want to do, even in regards to maybe stepping into investing. I know I want to do a lot more within media in that scope, and stepping more into my creative process in general. And I loved this morning going through that pilot and figuring out, the directions we want to take it. And I think I would do more of that. And maybe even doing more podcasts like you, Jordan.
Hey, listen, I'm always happy to have someone else doing these interviews with me.
You're doing a great job too.
Let's do it. Get on in here.
Ooh.
We'll start another series.
Hey, look, I'm down to explore. I'm down to clown.
What's your biggest point of pride as a Scarlet Knight?
I think it's, for me, probably Captain Skull. Yeah, that's something I was really proud of getting inducted into. And it doesn't mean that anyone that didn't get inducted into it, that it is a detriment to any sort of your character or anything like that. But, I know that some of my best friends came out of that community. And even how I met you, Jordan, was through someone that was in Captain Skull, I'm pretty sure. So I'm always very happy to see
Anthony
how the community grows. Anthony Covington, that is how we got connected. Yeah, so he's one of my predecessors in Captain Skull that I also met in class, in a class that our professor was also another member of Captain Skull from like the 80s. So I was really honored to get tapped into that society and fall in the footsteps of Paul Robeson and other awesome individuals.
Perfect. Chisa, thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you so much for this. We're so glad to have you as our Young Alumni Spotlight.
Yes.
And we hope you'll stay involved and that the great things are ahead.
Absolutely, man. Hey, if you guys put it on my calendar, I'll be there. Live or die by that calendar.
That's the life of working from home, right?
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you a lot.